Global stock markets are soaring thanks to President Trump's latest trade truce with China, and the world's two largest economic superpowers have agreed to slash tariffs by 115%. That means there's still some in there, but they're much lower, and it's for a 90-day period. So, Wall Street, the corner of Wall and Broad, liking the cooling off that they see. The deal cuts reciprocal tariffs, again, by 115%. And China will reduce pressure on U.S. products from 125% down to 10%. The U.S. will temporarily lower tariffs on Chinese goods from 145 to 30%. So you see, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent revealed that this breakthrough was able to happen under President Trump because China walked all over Biden.
In January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations.
And now that President Trump was able to make major progress with China, he's eyeing an agreement with the European Union next. But warns those talks will be tougher.
In all parts of the European Union, they were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that. I see that with trade, too. European Union is in many ways nastier than China. We've just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards.
Trump be like, I hit one down, I'm on to the next one. Come on.
They treated us very unfairly.
All the cards, David.
Yeah. I watched the European Union debate. It was a few days ago on the tariffs. And you could see the setup already. And President Trump is right. There are so many moving parts in Europe, and it's either full-on anti-Trump or they can't preserve their socialism. The other thing they face in Europe is that Germany is breaking away a little bit from this. You see the shifts in Germany, and they're sick of being basically the economic lapdog for the other countries. So they're not as aligned as they'd like to be, but there are a lot of people that are just living in that TDS world. And I saw that in the debates. I watched a couple of hours of it and realized that this is what we're up against. But China proves one thing, that when you stop playing games with them and pay attention to their weakness, China is not as strong as they'd like to be. They're our biggest trade deficit. But the fact is that they're weak because if their goods sit there and they're an export economy, they're not selling to maintain their communism.
So, Kennedy, can you talk to us about really what this means in a broader sense with the European Union? They don't have a singular dollar over there. You've still got the British. You have a lot of people on the continent who do things differently financially. Yes. How much does all that matter?
Well, it does matter because the European Union came into existence to compete with America on the global stage, hoping to be, the third leg in a hegemonic triad. And that has not necessarily been the case because there have, for the last couple decades, been several countries in the EU that have really dragged their economy down, and they've tried to restructure their debt over the years. And I don't blame Germany. I mean, Bavaria wants to secede from Germany because they're prosperous, and you have other parts of the country that, the social safety net is acting like an anvil. So they're doing whatever they can.
And in the UE, you got you have China's his own country to act on his behalf. The US is supposed to be his own country, act on his behalf. But the EU, you got multiple countries trying to act as one on one accord when they people need different things. So it's just harder to make a deal, probably.
But I'm sorry, the free market and appealing to consumers is the best way to go instead of creating a system of dependency that is unsustainable in any country, in any language.
Emily.
Yeah, I look not through the lens of an economist by any means, but just as an American, as I have been told that under the prior administration, our obligations were ignored. And I can't skip over that because the idea and the concept of an abdication of duty is something that somehow the left pushed a narrative for us that it was somehow tolerable. And they reframe President Trump's actions as somehow that of a self-serving dictator, when the opposite is true. He is finally, for once, fighting for the Americans like China. Will never let this be a joy or a success. They will continue painting this in poor light, and that lo and behold, they said China would never come around, right? It was going to be World War III. Well, look what happened.
Well, it's like Kayleigh always says, deliverables. I mean,
Yeah.
Trump is coming forth with them. That's got to really hurt the left. I want to stick with the European Union for just a second, though, because a lot of things are really, really pricey over there. And Kennedy mentioned that there are 2 or 3 economies within the union that are not viable, and they're having to shore each other up and all of that. That makes them weak against someone on the global stage like Trump, who wants to now, as a president, do a deal with tariffs.
For sure. And of course, they don't have the United Kingdom there anymore either. I'm still sitting here so impressed that you watched a few hours of a European Union debate on tariffs. Whoa, David Webb.
I'm that guy.
You are that guy.
You're the one.
Let me just say, it's a huge win. And Scott Bessent has kind of been teasing this all along, saying when you're the surplus country, I mean, China's running a trade surplus. They have more to lose than us as the trade deficit country, and that appears to be right. This is a major breakthrough. 3 a.m. Eastern time is when Scott Bessent was announcing this on the world stage. He also talked about this helps to bring on critical supplies, and I couldn't help but think of my time in the White House in 2020 when, Obama left the cupboards bare, as Trump kept saying, with N95 respirators should be praised. President Trump said, maybe we bring these tariffs to 80%, but I leave it up to Scott B. Well done, Scott B. This is a big breakthrough with President Trump at the top.
Come on, let's get it. Trump now just stop Israel from destroying Gaza and taking over. And come on, your fucking approval rating is going to go through the fucking roof. Stop that, and we got it. Come on, Trump. Nice one. I know the stock market went up today. People are like, oh my God, it's a negotiation. We're gonna go into fucking debt, and it's gonna be we're not gonna have products, and it's gonna be a recession and a Great Depression. Nah, all we had to do is wait a little bit. We got the cards. China had the fold. Now those tariffs on the 10%. Look at that man right there. He going through it in the White House. He looking older every day, but hey, he getting the shit done. Let me know what y'all think, Cave Dwellers. Hoorah.